Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today I've got another set of free and quick, easy patterns for gifts. Today we're going to be working on the first part of a two-part series of gifts for teens. There were so many patterns, and I had a lot of people who were like super excited about this, and I just couldn't narrow it down to just three patterns that I wanted to sew up. So I've got 6 patterns, but we're only going to sew 3 patterns today, and then I will be releasing a part 2 which will have the other 3 patterns. So today we're going to be starting with the Slouchy Beanie by Patterns for Pirates. Then we're going to move on to sew the Sew It Forward sock pattern by Ellie and Matt. Third of all, we're going to go ahead and sew the Aster crossbody bag by Petite Stitchery. This is a cool pattern. I am super excited about it. All these patterns are free and super easy to sew, so I'm excited, and let's get to it. All right, so my 3 patterns are printed and my fabrics have been selected. I'm using this heavier fabric, woven fabric, for my crossbody bag. And using this canvas-like fabric for my lining. Since my fabrics are not super thick, I wanted to use both of them be a little bit of a thicker fabric, and hopefully it will work well. Then I'm using this really soft sweater knit fabric for my beanie, and for my socks I'm using this waffle knit blue fabric. I love these socks in this thin fabric, and I am going to hack them to be longer because I love to wear these socks under boots. So I may gift these, or I may not. I may keep them because I was just thinking I need a new pair. So these are things you can make for gifts, but you can also make them for yourself. So now I'm going to cut all the pattern pieces and get to sewing. To make this as long as I want, I'm going to add about 5 inches at the top. Actually, let me add 6 inches. And I'll add that on the top of the, this is the front, and on the top of the back top. As you can see, I don't have a ton of fabric left, so I am going to be piecing these straps all together. Like this one is supposed to be one long strap, so it feels like I can get half of it on one. So I'm gonna cut 2 pieces with a little bit of seam allowance, just like I did on the other strap. That's what I did on the one I just cut. I cut 2 pieces, give a little bit of seam allowance, that way I can piece it together at the seam allowance, and then it'll be one long strap. All right, let's start with the beanie. I'm going to grab this beanie and I'm going to open it up. Here's one piece. Here's the other piece. I'm going to lay it right on top of it, right sides together. And then I'm going to pin and sew all the way around, starting here at, leave that V alone, and start right at that corner and go down one side, and then again at the top and go around the other side. You want to grab the band, and already it's folded wrong sides together, but you want to actually fold it right sides together and sew that short raw edge here at the edge. All right, now we're going to fold it right sides together the opposite way. And here at the top, we're going to match them right sides together at that seam, and we're gonna close that top. If I wanted to add a pom-pom, I could place the pom-pom there and serge it together when I'm sewing it, like sew it on there, or I can just, sew it on later. And here at the bottom, since I like to do everything at the same time, I'm going to grab this band, fold it wrong sides together, matching those raw edges. Quarter it by going from the back to the front,
marking that, and then matching the front and back and going to the sides. And then do the same for the beanie. Here's my sides. You match the front and the back, and my sides are here. Okay. And I actually want these seams to be my sides. So I'm gonna grab this seam and put it back here, and that will be my back. And we're matching them right sides together at the notches, the marks that we just made. Front, side, back, other side. And that's literally it. We're gonna go sew that top, we're gonna go sew this band on, and we are done with our beanie. What a simple, quick, cute, easy project gift to make from scraps to give away to friends, teens, your kids. Make it for yourself, your loved one. I love it. Alrighty friends, that slouchy beanie is done. I love how it looks. I love how it turned out. So slouchy, so cute, so quick, so perfect. I love it. Now let's move on to the socks. All right, so here we go. We're gonna sew these socks. I have the two back bottoms. I'm gonna place them right side up on my mat. The ones that are just like the sole. These are the back bottoms. And then I've got my two back tops. Remember, I added length, so that's why they look a little bit different. And see how they both have these little notches here? I'm gonna grab them and I'm gonna place them right sides together here at the top and match up those notches. And now you can mark those notches however you want to, but you're gonna sew from this notch all the way around to the other notch, all the way around that top, and same on the other sock, because we're doing the same to both socks, obviously. All right, now we're going to open this up like so. So there is the seam is here, and we're gonna tilt this down. We're gonna grab our other side. This is our front, and we're gonna place it. See that curve right here? We're gonna place it, that curve, match those curves together, and we're gonna sew the whole thing up all the way up to the top. Starting at the top, going around all the way. When you get here, when you're sewing here, you kind of just move this a little bit over and sew it on there. You don't worry about this back side. You just kind of sew in right there, catching that there, but keep sewing around it so it's not stuck. Okay, I kind of open it up and sew it down, and I don't catch it too much because that's going to be the bottom of your sock. While we're there, I'm gonna grab my bands. I'm gonna fold them right sides together and sew them together to prep them to sew on after we are done sewing that circle. Not circle, sock. Why did I say circle? All right, our socks are basically done. Now all you have to do is turn them around. And there it is, our sock is done, but we want to put a band here at the top so that it'll stay up. If you don't want a band, you could put elastic here at the top and fold this under and kind of top stitch it so that you covered the elastic. Some people don't want to have the band on there, so that's another option. For the band, we're folding it wrong sides together and matching our side seams to our sides of the band. So here's one side, and I go to the other side like so, and then I match them right sides together at that top raw edge. All right, friends, my socks are on, and I love how they turned out. I made them extra long for boots. I actually love wearing these with my boots because they don't fold down. The band is a little bit snug, which I like because they don't fold down. But if you don't like them to be too snug, you can actually widen them out a little bit, make them a little bit longer so they're not as snug. And this fabric doesn't have a great stretch, so that's another reason. But I've made these in waffle, I've made this in rib, and I made this in cotton lycra and in double brush poly, and I love all of them. So I'm gonna go now and we're gonna get started on the crossbody bag.
All right, friends, so before we get started with the sewing tutorial for the crossbody bag, I've got it finished. And I wanted to come talk to you before I just jump in and show you the sewing tutorial because there's a couple of things that I did that I kind of messed up on the tutorial, and I wanted to come and tell you all so that you have a forewarning and you don't end up maybe even making the same mistakes that I did. So first of all, I wanted to say that the other two tutorials that I have on this video have been really easy and quick, and that was my goal, to do some easy, quick, simple sews. This one is a little bit more detailed, a little bit more advanced. The instructions and the pattern are pretty straightforward. It's not super difficult, but there is a zipper that it's a little bit challenging to sew on. So at the end, I end up hand stitching part of it on the sides because it was just easier to do it that way. There's a couple of times that I do a certain way and then I have to go back and redo it because I didn't take enough precautions. So I just wanted to let you know that the best way to view this coming up tutorial and sew this bag is to actually watch the tutorial first before you start sewing your pattern. That way you have an idea of what's gonna happen. I'm gonna try to leave as many of the mistakes I made on there so that can be helpful for you to be able to see, you know, and maybe not make that same mistake that I made. I would say that for the lining fabric next time, I would go with a lighter side of fabrics. It does get a little bulky here at the top, and I mentioned this at the end of the video, but I wanted to mention it again here before you all get started. And also, I would go ahead and match my zipper to my outer. I did not have a zipper. I did not go buy a zipper for this pattern. I just had a white zipper, so that's why it doesn't match. But other than that, I think it turned out really cute. I think it's a great pattern, and I think it's really, really like in right now, these little crossbody bags. So I think it turned out super cute. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you the tutorial, and I hope you enjoy it.
All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to quilt our crossbody bags, the pieces, the straps, and the front and back. So I'm going to piece them together, like the right side facing up and the batting on the back behind it on the wrong side, like so. And I'm going to use my pattern to mark where the lines are going to go, where I'm going to be stitching, like quilting my fabric. So like, let's say here's one, I'll just move it, and then you can use, what do you call it? Some water soluble marker to mark them on here, or whatever you want to use to mark those lines and quilt your fabric. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and add my interfacing to those pieces that I am interfacing. I'm not interfacing all the pieces they asked me to interface, only back, front, and the strap connector piece H. But you also can interface the strap piece F, and you can interface the front and back main if you're not quilting. But I think because I'm using the thick fabric on both, I think I should be fine if I don't interface every little thing. But maybe I won't be fine. But I don't have that much interfacing, so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. You all know and have hopefully gotten to notice that sometimes I just go with the flow, especially if I don't have enough of a fabric, but I still want to make something. We just make it work. All right, now this strap H, we're gonna fold it right sides together here along that edge, and we're gonna sew it. I'm kind of gathering things, doing a few things first and going to go sew later. So I'm gonna be having this to do. I'm gonna be quilting, and I'm also going to grab my other strap G, and I'm going to do, first I'm going to sew that fold here, because remember I did not have enough fabric to cut it all in one gulp. I'm going to sew this gulp here, then I'm going to open it up, I'm going to fold it right sides together and sew it into one long tube like I'm doing for H. So this is G, I'm sewing one long tube. You may not have this right here because I had it because I didn't have enough fabric, but if you had enough fabric, you're just going straight. It only does 3 quilting pieces, but if you wanted to quilt it even more or do some different designs, you could definitely do that and that would be super cute. I messed up and I put the seam allowance on the wrong side because you're supposed to be sewing it right sides together. For some reason, I folded it right sides together, but I sewed it wrong sides together. So I'm opening that back up and sewing it now right sides together. Yikes. Good thing I cut that. I was gonna have a seam going right down the middle. It up, and now I can finish up, continuing right sides together, and that seam is on the inside, will be on the inside. All right, let me put these to the side. I'm grabbing the little one and then the strap H and G, and I'm turning them right sides together, right side out, I'm sorry. Then I'm gonna top stitch the 2 edges and it'll be like a strap right there. And I'm gonna do the same for this one. All right, so I only have these sliders and they're not as big as wide as they need to be, but I think they'll work just fine. I'm gonna grab my H piece, my strap connector, and place it right through my slider. I have one that has a middle piece, which is good. And then I'm going to match those raw edges. So I'm just gonna baste it here. I don't know why on that picture, it doesn't really say, and on the picture, it looks like they're doing it to the back. So anyway, I'm just gonna go do that real quick and come right back. Then I'm gonna grab another slider like this, and I'm going to place it in through my strap. Place my strap through here. All right, now I'm gonna grab my strap and I'm gonna put my strap through that slider. Again, it's a little bit smaller than what I need, but that's fine. I could always make this strap a little bit thinner, but I already made it, and you all know I'm just going for it. Then I'm gonna fold in this way towards the back, and we're gonna fold that over. You wanna have like 1.5 inches here of give right here, and we're gonna secure that by sewing a little rectangle box right here. Okay, there's my little rectangle box, and this is sewn on. Now we open this up this way. We grab our piece. This is our wrong side. Is going to be facing up of our strap. Here's the wrong side, and we're going to fit this through our little other side of the triangle, or in my case, a slider. And we're coming through. Still facing the wrong way. Now we're going to fit it through the other side of that slider. And we're going to move that slider closer to the rectangle. So now that is prepped, and we're going to move on to our strap. Okay, I'm going to grab both of these pieces, and I'm going to place them right sides together and sew along the sides. All right, now that we got strap piece F sewn, we're gonna grab our strap, our small strap, and we're gonna feed it through. I'm just gonna go through here through the top and pull it through. And then we're gonna go ahead and sew that shut right here at the top. Sew that closed. Now we're going to pull it. Oh, actually, we're going to trim this up here. And then we're going to pull it right side out. We're going to grab the top of our back right here, making sure our strap is not twisted. We're going to attach here at the top. We're going to baste that right there at the top. All right, now for the welt pocket, I'm going to go ahead and cut out this little rectangle here. Okay, and then I'm gonna mark it on the wrong side of the main piece. Okay, there it is. And I'm also going to mark it on my lining piece. Once I've marked the lining of the welt, zipper welt lining, the main and the lining one, I'm gonna grab my main gusset. Now, you know, remember how I had to cut it into 2 pieces? I'm gonna match it right sides together and sew it into 1 piece. So it's my 1 continuous piece. And this will be my center area here. So once that's sewn together, I'm going to place it right at that center. Find the center of this one too. And I'm gonna place it right at that center so they'll match up right sides together. So that's the wrong side because that's the one that's got the markings. So we'll place them right sides together. And then I'm gonna go sew around where those markings are. And I'm gonna do the same for the lining. Now the lining, I did cut it all in one, so I can show you on here. Here's the right side of the lining. So here's my middle piece right here. Let's find the middle of the welt lining, and then place it right at that middle crease right there where the middle was. Right sides together. And I'm gonna go and sew around that little hole area there. So I'm doing that for the lining and I'm doing that for the main. But for the main, remember, I gotta sew it together. You probably don't if you had enough fabric to cut it all straight. All right, so now I've got the markings on this little piece of paper, but it's really hard to see. So what we're really doing is we're just going right down the middle here. So this is about a 1/2 inch wide. So I'm going in a 1/4 inch and just marking where that is. And at the corners, I'm going like so. I'm gonna go in with my scissors and cut that line and then go out to the corners. I'm gonna do that same for the outer. It's just easier to see on this fabric. I come really close to the stitches without actually cutting the stitches. Then I'm going to go ahead and turn all these in. And I'm bring my mat and I'm going to steam them inside. All right, now this is gonna come as a shocker, but I did not buy supplies for this tutorial. I'm just using what I already have. Shocker, I know, because that's what I always do. So I have a white zipper instead of a black or blue zipper. So I'm a little bit upset about that because I wanted it to really match, but I still hope that it still is gonna look good. So this is a 16-inch zipper and we're gonna place it right in the middle of the wrong side. This is the lining and this is the wrong side of the welt, the zipper welt lining. And I'm gonna face it up and sew along the sides to attach it to that. Kind of want to look at it on the other side to make sure it's kind of even. All right, now I'm gonna go sew on the sides to attach it to that. Here's a little tip. Do not use black thread if you are sewing a white zipper. So now I'm gonna have to do it all over again, but I did realize that it was not even. So I opened my zipper and now I'm going to place it back on there, and this time with the zipper open, trying to make it more even along the edge, because it was like really short on one side, really long on the other, then it didn't catch. So I think opening the zipper is what will help keep it more even. All right, I'm gonna go sew that just the same way that I did it with the black thread, but now with the white thread. Now I'm gonna grab this lining piece, I'm gonna fold it, and I'm gonna sew it here at the raw edge. I'm just gonna go ahead and sew that real quick. And we're gonna grab this gusset and we're gonna fold, we'll open that seam allowance there. We're gonna fold the gusset and find the quarter points. So here's my sides, and my front would be right here. And I'm gonna mark my bag front and back. We're gonna mark those half points as well. Here's the center top, the center bottom, and then I'm gonna fold it in half and match the sides. And then I'm going to match those quarters up with my bag. So I'm gonna match the places and pin together at those quarters. This is the front piece, the one that doesn't have the straps yet. And then I'm gonna go ahead and sew all those edges right sides together. Now, because my fabric frays really badly, I'm gonna go back through with my serger and actually serge those edges. Oh, I made a crucial, massive mistake. And I can't fix it right now because I don't have any more of this fabric. Actually, do I have a little bit? I don't know. I don't think I do. I was supposed to be sewing this to the lining fabric. I was like, you're going to be able to see that? That's weird. No, this was supposed to be sewn to the lining front, the liner. I'm going to see if I have enough, if I have more of this fabric to create another outer, but I doubt that I do. And this, I chose the worst fabric. This canvas fabric frays and it just does a horrible job. So I had such a hard time sewing it onto that backing anyway. If I don't have enough of the fabric, I'm still going to continue and finish this on because I want to finish this project and show you all how it works. And I'll try to put a warning on this so that way when you're sewing it, you don't make the same mistake because you're just sewing along with me. But I might have the lid be the back, which would be the front, since this is the front, be a different color and not look as great as it could have. Oh, I can't believe I did that. So last night we made the mistake of, well, I say we, I meant I, made the mistake of sewing the liner to the outer. And so what I did is I don't have any more of this fabric. So I found this other fabric that kind of coordinates and it's already quilted. I quilted it and ready to go. So this is going to be my main, and I'm just going to use this as my liner and call it a day and continue on with the sew. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab the other lining, the back piece, and I'm going to be sewing it to, again, over here to the back of it. So we're going to sew that around. I'm going to open the zipper a little bit so that I can turn it right around when I'm done. Here's my zipper. I guess opening the zipper is not, the zipper is on the outside. Why was I thinking it was on this? Oh, well, we're going to sew around there. Then we're going to grab our main gusset piece. We're going to fold it right sides together and we're going to sew that edge as well. We're going to do both of those things at the same time. All right, so now we're going to put this lining aside and we're going to work on our outer piece. Here's the lining piece of the bag. It's basically a little bag in its own, but we're going to work on the outer bag. I'm going to grab the main piece and I'm going to grab gusset, open that seam allowance, and then we're going to quarter this and sew it on just like we did on the other one. All right, now we're going to grab our back. We're going to quarter it and put all the straps inside of it. And then we're going to sew it the other side of that lining to the back. But quarter it first. We're going to sew right sides together just like we did on the liner. Make sure the top opening goes in the top. This is where the strap is. Make sure you're not catching the straps. except for the top and the little side right here. I found out that the more clips you put or the more pins you put, the easier it is to sew. So don't skimp out on the pins.
I learned my lesson.
Guess what? We're on our last step. I'm gonna turn my bag right side out. I'll have to trim all these fuzz things later. And then we're gonna fit, so I didn't do a pocket on this one, an inside pocket. So there's no pocket on here, but there would be a pocket on the inside if there was a pocket. We're gonna fit them wrong sides together, the liner and the outer. And then we're just going to top stitch around the zipper this outer piece. I'm gonna use pins for that. Find the center piece. That way I know exactly where the center of my pocket is. I mean, of my zipper. Oh no, I missed a spot here. I better go fix it first before I sew that. But I want to make sure it's all correct everywhere. It's gonna fit correctly. You want to zip it up and make sure that it's going to look good once it's zipped up. And then we're gonna go top stitch that. Make sure that you catch the zipper. So you gotta make sure that you're lining it up right against the zipper, and we'll be done with our bag. Phew, we did not give up, but that was a little rough. Now I'm gonna go ahead and clip all these trims and then show you the final result. I'm gonna try to give it a good steam, and then that's it. Y'all, I wanted to give you a little tip. Here at the edge, this zipper was so hard to put together because you've got all these layers here. So I seam ripped it, and I'm just gonna hand stitch it on. I mean, I don't know why not. I also have a gap here, which I'm also going to hand stitch on because I already put it all together and I didn't check my gaps. But this will be a lot easier than trying to get that sewing machine to fit through that little gap and just get aggravated. I don't know why I didn't think about doing that earlier. Look at how much nicer that looks right there, just by hand stitching it. I'm gonna do the same here. Now we are truly finished.
All right, my friends, we are finished with this. So we are done. It looks really cute, except for the fact that my fabric's a little bit off center, but that's okay. It turned out really cool, and I think this is a great thing to make for, you know, a teen or a friend or even yourself. And it all varies, like, depending on the fabric that you use and stuff like that. Now, I have a few things about it that I struggled with was, you know, the zipper, and that's why I hand stitched. Making sure that you read the instructions correctly. But other than that, I think it was this tutorial was pretty straightforward. Next time I probably will not use as heavy of a fabric for the lining. I would go a little bit lighter on the lining since it's really ends up being really thick here at the top to sew it together. Then it's kind of bulky here, which is fine, but next time I probably will do like a lighter lining fabric and might even do something harder for the actual bag. I think this would be cute in like a faux leather or something like that as well. I think it would look adorable, or like a weather fabric or something like that. So anyway, we are done with all our sews today. Thank you so much for coming along. Those two first ones, super easy, super quick. This one was easy, but a little bit more challenging. So I hope you get to sew them all up, even if it's not for a holiday gift. At least you have these ideas for gifts for later. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment, like, share, subscribe if you haven't so you never miss out any of our other tutorials. We'll have a part 2 of this coming up later this week, so make sure you tune in so you can watch that. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!